Hey guys, DMV SoloRider back with another video. It is an absolutely amazing fall day towards the middle of September. I'm up in Thurmont, Maryland. We're gonna ride around the Catoctin Mountains, check out some covered bridges. I'll be honest with you guys, it wasn't my intent to film a video today. I was just gonna get on the bike, get out for a great ride, listen to the Washington football team play Buffalo, but my cell phone signal's a little wonky right now, and my satellite radio app is kind of going in and out, so that was kind of a pain in the butt, and I decided instead of doing that, because I got a lot on my mind, I'd film one of my talkies. I want to make sure you all are aware that Apple has recently issued a warning that for high capacity, high volume motorcycle engines such as that on the Indian Challenger or any M8 Harley, a big Honda, a BMW, you name it, all the big bikes, basically anything bigger than a Vespa, if you put your iPhone on the bike, like on a handlebar mount, put it in a glove box, you're at risk of breaking the phone's camera. Something that happened to me on my iPhone XS Max 3 times. Vibration of these big powerful engines in motorcycle frames are damaging two components on iPhones. One, optical image stabilization, and two, what's called the closed loop autofocus. And I think from earlier iPhones up until iPhone 11, they had optical image stabilization. So my XS Max had OIS, and those phones also have this closed loop autofocus. Starting from iPhone 11 up till the current 13, they no longer have OIS, but they do still have the autofocus. So my iPhone 12 Pro Max is still subject to breakage from putting the phone in the glove box or if I was to mount it on the handlebars. But Apple's statement to me was a little unclear if what's breaking the phone was vibration, like the physical shaking of the phone, like if you mount it on your handlebars, or if it was the vibration of the engine in the frame creating a radio frequency that was through the air penetrating the phone and breaking those components. I clarified with Apple support that what they're warning about are two separate things. One is the physical shaking of the phone that can damage your phone. The other is the shaking of the engine in the motorcycle frame is creating an actual frequency where the frequency alone can break your phone. You know, just to be clear, there are some frequencies that travel through the air that can snap metal. So maybe, you know, there are some of these components inside an iPhone or another phone. If they get enough of this frequency penetrating and hitting it, maybe they snap, they break, they weaken, whatever. Maybe they weaken enough where the actual vibration becomes a problem and actually breaks the component. I'm not an engineer, I'm not an expert. So it's not one or the other, it's kind of both. And what does that mean? I mean, there are plenty of people out there using different kind of handlebar mounts, some of which have vibration dampeners. That's great, but that won't necessarily protect your phone from damage caused by frequencies. You know, I'm not trying to tell you what you should or shouldn't do with your own phone on your own motorcycle. I'm just passing along the information that I have. So I just wanted to address that briefly on the channel. You know, as someone who's discussed this issue at length in the past, it's kind of a vindication that, yeah, there's something wrong. Oh, look at that. So the other topic that's on my mind was a video that Brandon Picasso put out, I think this past week, where he was talking about how he does sponsorships. You know, someone will send him a helmet, he'll wear the helmet, tell you what he thinks, that sort of stuff. But he happened to mention, you know, if you have an experience with a product and you don't like it, you got to be honest about that, but you don't want to trash the company. And he specifically said, don't say, oh, the company is trash or the company sucks, both of which I said about Ride Command on my Indian Challenger. So for me, I felt like Brandon was talking to yours truly. Based on my experience with Ride Command and CarPlay and the broken phone, you know, was I unfair to Indian when I posted that video just trashing Ride Command because of my experience to date. Remember, my experience was putting the phone in the glove box broke the camera 3 times, my old iPhone XS Max. And my solution was to buy a wireless dongle, the CarLink at 2.0, so that I could keep my phone in my pocket. You plug the dongle into the USB that connects to the bike, and the dongle tricks CarPlay into thinking your phone is connected when really the dongle is connecting to your phone by Wi-Fi. Slick setup, usually works like a charm. It was going great for, a couple thousand miles, and then all of a sudden it started disconnecting nonstop, and I was just frustrated. It was the one solution I had to use CarPlay without breaking my phone that I was comfortable with, and now it wasn't working, and I was really fed up. And for those of you watching the channel for a while, as you know, while I didn't buy the Challenger just for CarPlay, it was definitely a major reason that I switched from the Chieftain to the Challenger. So I was pretty upset. And I went and filmed that video in about an hour, edited it in about 30 minutes. It was pretty tight. I knew what I was thinking and what I wanted to say. I was angry and I wanted Indian to see it.
Okay. Interjecting an overlay to streamline a bit. Sometimes riding and talking off the top of your head leaves a little something to be desired in the organization department. Just to be clear, I don't care about being sponsored or getting freebies in exchange for videos. That's not why I started my channel. But Picasso's video did get my attention when it comes to issues of honesty, credibility, and the related issue of transparency where this motovlogging thing is concerned. Because after Apple's warning, and based on my continuing experience with Ride Command and CarPlay, I've been feeling like that Ride Command video that I made in a huff is aged pretty poorly. Apple publicly warning that motorcycles are breaking iPhones, even as the company is working with many motorcycle manufacturers to add CarPlay to their infotainment systems, just underscores for me that in combining motorcycle engines with new technologies and software, the ecosystem doesn't have everything ironed out just yet. I mean, BMW just launched the R18 Transcontinental. They seem to be making a pretty big marketing push. Meanwhile, a feature on the R18 is a special ventilated storage compartment just for your cell phone. You probably don't want to go putting your iPhone in that compartment, yet there it is. And that's kind of made me stop and reassess my old Ride Command video. While I was genuine in my frustration over my Ride Command experience, and it certainly needs to be addressed, labeling a thumbnail Ride Command as trash, or titling a video as Ride Command sucks, seems a bit unfair and unduly harsh given something like Apple's warning. That's particularly the case because just as I've heard from viewers who say they plan to buy a Challenger after watching my review, I've also heard from viewers who say they've postponed their plans to buy a Challenger until Ride Command's kinks are worked out. Now we all have to make those kinds of decisions for ourselves. Notwithstanding everything I've said about Ride Command, CarPlay, and my issues, I absolutely love riding my Challenger. I'm a little over 2 years into this motorcycle obsession of mine, and I've ridden quite a few bikes of all different types at this point. And I can truthfully and happily tell you that after each ride or demo day, every single time I've gotten back on the Challenger and headed down the road, I'm always smiling ear to ear because every other motorcycle only makes me love the Challenger even more. Alright, we might have an exception with the Rocket 3, but let's set that aside for a future video. Anyway. All of this just has me wondering if I have a reason to revise that video, either to edit out some of the harshness or at least to change the thumbnail and the title.
And so what I wanted to ask you guys are your thoughts. Should I pull that video down? Should I reshoot it? Change the thumbnail, change the title, explain why, or recut it, I guess? Or should I just leave it as is? I feel like I'm documenting my experience as I go into this motorcycle obsession. I'm a little over 2 years in now. To some extent, I feel almost like there's a journalistic ethics obligation. For me personally, I don't think journalists have any business changing an article after it's been published. They shouldn't change the headlines. They should change not a word, none of the grammar, none of the punctuation in the article that was published. If they need to print a correction or a retraction, they should do that separately. They can link it to the article, especially online, but that's it. And all too often in today's world, journalists go in and stealthily edit their articles after the fact all the time, when it turns out they've got something totally wrong, or they were wrong because they were driving their preferred narrative as opposed to fact. I detest it. And so to some extent, I feel like it would be really dishonest of me to touch that video in any way, shape, or form. You know, I don't, you know, the overwhelming majority of my views on it are that I should just leave it up. I filmed it, I meant it at the time, even if my experience since then suggests I was being a little piggish, a little boneheaded. I don't feel like getting rid of the video is appropriate. And so, you know, I wanted to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts? Viva la France! I know GPS out there is terrible on Ride Command, but I really want to hear from you. And if there's anyone who's got a real strong feeling that, yeah, you know, you probably should take that video down or re-edit it or do something like kind of along the lines of what journalists do when they change a story, although, you know, a lot of them don't do it the right way. I want to hear from you guys. I would appreciate it. And Brandon Picasso, if you're out there and you're watching old DMV SoloRider's videos and my video on Ride Command was what you were thinking about, let me know. I'm dying to know. Because I felt like you were looking into the camera and you were talking right to me, which is hilarious. Well, that's what I got for you guys today. I'm going to get rid of these cameras. I'm going to pop on some music and go spend the rest of the afternoon riding around Thurmont, Maryland on Instagram. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd certainly appreciate if you give it a thumbs up. I put my ride and ride-related videos out every Friday. Hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell. You'll get an alert every time my new video is out, and I would certainly appreciate it. Until next week, DMV SoloRider out.